The air's still warm tonight. Too warm. It's 8:12 p.m., or at least my clock still says it is. Can't trust much anymore. The wind's been pushing through the broken window above the desk here, carrying this kind of silence that doesn't feel right. No traffic, no jets overhead, no dogs barking. Even the birds left days ago. You're listening to Hollowcast. If you're hearing this, you're alive, and you're not alone. My name is Dan Rivers. I'm coming to you from what used to be KPRX 91.1, a local station here in Little Rock. What's left of it anyway? I've got a diesel generator humming out back, enough to keep the transmitter alive for a few more days if I run it only at night. I figured night's the best time. Harder to feel alone when you hear a voice coming through the dark. Please subscribe to support the production of this broadcast. I don't know who's still listening. Maybe someone on the edge of town with a battery-powered radio. Maybe someone miles away who's just trying to make sense of the quiet. Either way, I'll keep talking as long as I can, until I run out of fuel or air or time. The signal's probably only good for about 30 miles now. Used to stretch halfway across the state. But the towers aren't stable anymore. I think the one near Benton collapsed yesterday. Saw smoke trailing from the hill it was on. Doesn't matter. What matters is that someone's still here. That the story gets told. That we don't vanish in silence like the rest of them. Because people are vanishing. Not dying, not getting sick, not leaving behind wreckage or blood. Just gone. Cars stalled out on the freeway with the doors flung open. Meals still hot on the table. Phones still unlocked. One moment they were there, the next, nothing but shoes on the sidewalk and headlights still glowing in the dark. It started slow. Little things. A neighbor not showing up to mow the lawn. A dog barking for hours behind a locked door. Mail piling up. But then it spread. Whole apartment complexes emptied out. Schools abandoned mid-lesson. Kids' backpacks still open. Papers fluttering in the hallways. I was driving to the station when I saw a bus on Cantrell Road, just parked sideways across the street. Engine off. All the doors open. Not a soul inside. I got out and walked through it. Every seat empty, but bags were still there. Someone had left their phone on the floor still playing a video. The city went quiet fast. Too fast. I called my sister in St. Louis. No answer. Tried again an hour later. Line was dead. Tried my folks in Baton Rouge. Nothing. Then I tried the old newsroom back when this place was still alive. Phones rang and then stopped. Whatever this is, it's not just Little Rock. It's not just Arkansas. You ever see footage of those places frozen in time? Like Chernobyl or the villages near Fukushima. That's what it feels like out there. But this isn't radiation, and there's no warning signs, no biohazard suits or flashing lights. Just absence. Just people missing like smoke through a crack in the window. I kept thinking maybe it was some kind of event. A coordinated attack. Some electromagnetic thing. But it doesn't make sense. There's no blast, no noise, no announcement. Just silence. The kind that rings in your ears after something terrible happens and nobody's willing to say it out loud. There were some broadcasts early on. Local cops tried to organize search parties, said it might be a gas leak or something airborne. But they didn't sound sure. And the National Guard sent out one transmission 3 nights ago from a base near Fort Smith. I caught part of it. The voice was shaky, said something about containment breach and non-violent loss of biological presence. Then static. Non-violent loss of biological presence. That's what stuck with me. Like they were trying not to say what it was. Or maybe they didn't know. Maybe nobody does. There's a man I used to know, Dr. Everett. Used to teach at the university, physics department. Retired now, lives out near Lake Momel. I visited him yesterday. He's still got an old ham radio set up in his basement, and the man knows more about waveforms and interference than anyone I've ever met. He's scared, Dan. That's what he said when I walked in. Didn't even say hello. Just looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I'm scared, Dan." He's been tracking frequency shifts. Said something about patterns in the upper VLF range, very low frequency. Said he's seeing bursts of signal interference at specific intervals, not natural ones, not weather, not solar, artificial, timed, as if something is pulsing through the air, but we can't feel it, like a sonar ping, but aimed at us. Everett thinks it's connected. Said the pulses might be doing something to people. Rewriting neural patterns. Triggering. He called it mass dissociation. Said if it was strong enough and tuned right, it could make people disassociate from reality entirely. Like, literally vanish. Slip through the cracks. I asked him what that meant. He said, "It's like a resonance. If you hit the right note, you can shatter a glass. But what happens if the glass is a human mind?" He said one more thing before I left. Said he picked up a signal 2 nights ago, bouncing back from the upper ionosphere. Said it wasn't ours, not military, not satellite, something else, repeating every 47 seconds. Same tone, same signature. And then he played it for me. I wish he hadn't. It was this sound, low, vibrating, almost like a voice, but too deep, too steady. It didn't speak. It just hummed, like something alive but far away. And when it played, I swear to you the lights flickered in the room. My skin went cold. My chest felt tight, like the pressure dropped. Everett cut it off fast, said he didn't want to risk it. I've been trying to figure out how to talk about this without sounding crazy. But maybe it doesn't matter anymore. Maybe sounding crazy's the only honest thing left. Because I'm not alone here. Not yet. There's a woman across the road, Marcy. She's got 2 kids, twins, about 8 years old. I saw her this morning, sitting on the front porch with a shotgun in her lap. Her boys were asleep on a blanket beside her, like she was standing watch. She waved. I waved back. We're down to 8 people on this block. There were 33 a week ago. Nobody's leaving anymore. They're just not waking up. Not being found. They're vanishing without a sound, without a struggle. And when I walk into the empty houses, everything's still warm, like they just stepped into another room. It's hard to sleep. I keep the studio lights low now, just enough to see the dials. The hallway's dark. I don't go down there unless I have to. There's a feeling in the air that I can't shake. Like if I look too long into the wrong corner, I'll see something I'm not supposed to. The emergency broadcast system went down yesterday. No more tones, no more crawl, just static now. I tried scanning through the AM band for any signs of life. Nothing but dead carriers. FM's mostly gone too. The only thing I picked up was a repeating signal around 89.7. Just one voice, saying the same word over and over. Anchor. 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 I don't know what it means. Food's still holding out. I've been siphoning gas from cars that nobody's coming back for. There's a stream behind the building with clean water if you boil it right. But supplies are thinning. People are starting to scavenge. I saw a man yesterday breaking into an old Dollar General with a crowbar. He wasn't stealing big things, just water, canned goods, batteries. He saw me and nodded, like we understood each other, like we were both just keeping each other alive for a little longer. The scariest part isn't the silence, it's the waiting. It's not knowing if tomorrow you'll wake up and the people still left will be gone too, or if you'll be the one who disappears. I'm tired. I don't know how long I've been awake. Feels like days blur together now. I used to keep a journal to track time, but the pages started feeling pointless. Every entry sounded the same. I guess that's why I'm doing this broadcast, to prove that I'm still here. I'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same channel, if it's still alive. If I am, if you're out there, if you're hearing me, please, don't disappear. I'll keep this light on as long as I can. It's just after 8:10 p.m. again. Same as last night. Same hum in the air. Same broken window pushing in the warm wind, like it's trying to get my attention. This air doesn't move the way it used to. It clings. Feels like it's carrying something. Like a weight just barely noticeable until it's too late and your chest feels tight and your thoughts start getting slow. This is Dan Rivers, broadcasting again from the same little booth on the edge of Little Rock. KPRX is dead, but the tower's still standing for now. Hollowcast is what I've started calling this. Seemed fitting. It's the sound left behind after everything else falls quiet. The echo inside a building with no people in it. My voice isn't worth much, but it's what I've got. And if you're listening to this, if it made it to you, it means we're both still here. For now. No change today. That's what I keep telling myself. No change is better than more gone. I woke up around noon, slept through the morning. Didn't mean to, but I had one of those nights where the body just gives out. Maybe it's the stress, or maybe I've started losing track of my own rhythm. No alarms anymore. No phones. Just this thick, unnatural silence that makes it hard to tell what time even is. There was a power surge around 3. Fried 2 of the backup batteries I was charging. The fridge gave up shortly after, so the last of the meat spoiled by sundown. I didn't cry. I just stood there and watched the green light go out. And I realized I hadn't heard my own voice all day. Not even a word. I think the thing that gets to you most is how fast the small stuff falls apart, not the big stuff. We expect that. Towers fall, grids fail, governments vanish. But it's the toothbrush with no bristles, the milk that never curdled because it was just gone with the people who bought it, the way shoes just sit by doors as if the people who wore them are still coming back. I went walking earlier, about a mile out, maybe 2. The gas isn't worth burning unless you have to. The neighborhood past the ridge is empty now. Every house. I knocked on doors just to hear the sound of it, just to see if I could pretend there was still a world behind them. There's a car crashed into the base of a phone pole at the corner of Hamilton and Creek. Airbags deployed. Doors open. The engine's off now, but the radio still plays the same burst of static every 47 seconds. Just like Everett said, that tone is everywhere now, leaking into everything. Radios, speakers, even the old boom box I pulled from storage. Same signal, same timing. It's like something's pressing into the space between channels. A signal you can't tune out because it's not really coming through the dial. It's coming through something deeper. Something under us. I'm not religious, but I find myself staring at the sky more often now. At night it looks wrong. There's this section near Orion's belt where the stars look melted. I don't know how else to describe it. like the pattern got smudged. I asked Everett if he noticed it too. He didn't say anything, just looked at me, wide-eyed, and nodded. I still think about the woman I saw 3 nights ago, barefoot on the side of the road. She was holding her phone up, waving it in the air like she was trying to get a signal. She didn't say anything, just stared through me like I wasn't there. I said something to her. I asked her name. She didn't blink. I kept walking. Came back an hour later and she was gone, but her phone was still on the ground, the screen cracked, battery blinking red. It was open to a photo gallery. Dozens of pictures. All of her. Alone. I don't know if this is still a disappearance. It doesn't feel like vanishing anymore. It feels like unraveling. Like whatever held the world together. Rules, meaning, connection. It's thinning. Like reality's starting to forget how to be real. There was a theory Everett told me once, years before all this, about how time isn't fixed. That we just perceive it that way because our brains need it to make sense of movement. He said that if enough of the world believed something, if we all moved in sync, time itself could be influenced by consensus. That maybe the universe runs like a shared dream, and if too many people drop out of it at once, it destabilizes. We don't wake up, we dissolve. That idea used to feel like science fiction. Now, it feels like prophecy. I found a pack of instant coffee in one of the drawers here at the station. Probably expired, but I boiled it over a Sterno can. Tasted like rust, but it was warm. And for a few minutes, I felt like I was home again. Like the mornings used to be when I got to the studio before sunrise, played the weather report, sipped coffee, stared out the window as the streets came alive. The streets don't come alive anymore. The city's bones are showing. That's the only way I can describe it. With people gone, the buildings don't look like buildings. They look like husks. Empty shapes that only ever made sense because we filled them. The sidewalks are littered with forgotten things. Strollers, grocery bags, mail. But not people. Never the people. I keep hoping I'll find someone I know, even just to see a face. But it's always the same. Open doors, warm rooms, no one inside. The hardest part is knowing how fast it all went. Less than 2 weeks ago, this place was loud. I remember driving to work, waiting in traffic, honking at a guy who wouldn't move at a green light. Now I'd give anything just to hear an engine. Just to hear someone cuss me out. It makes you realize how much of life is sound. Doors closing, phones ringing, distant sirens, water pipes groaning in old walls, and now, nothing. Just the wind and the electrical buzz of things that don't know the people are gone. I checked the TV stations again, just in case. Everything's frozen on looped footage, old press briefings, scrolling banners that never finish. Channel 4 shows a test pattern with the date stuck on October 11th. Channel 9 is still playing the last recorded news bulletin from Little Rock Police, telling people to stay in their homes, to avoid public gathering areas. That was 6 days ago. No updates since. Everett said something before I left yesterday. He said, "We're not disappearing. We're being overwritten." I asked him what he meant. He told me there's a theory in computational models. When a system reaches capacity, sometimes instead of crashing, it starts to overwrite data to make room. But not evenly, randomly, messily. He said if our reality runs on anything like that, and if the system is under stress, then what we're seeing, people gone, buildings losing their shape, clocks freezing, it could be signs of data being rewritten to conserve processing space. Like trimming a video file until only the main thread survives. I told him that sounded insane. Then I looked outside. and I watched a billboard that used to say, Church of Grace, suddenly change. It didn't flip. It didn't rotate. It just changed. Like it had always said something else. Anchor Communications. A company I've never heard of. Same font, same blue background. But the letters were different. I blinked and it was there. And no one else saw it. Because there was no one else. So maybe Everett's right. Maybe we're in the part of the tape that's getting compressed. Maybe we're not meant to still be here. But we are. For now. I'll be back tomorrow night. If the batteries hold. If the generator runs. If I still remember who I am. If you're still there, don't stop listening. Even if it gets quiet. Even if the air feels wrong. Listen for the hum. And remember your name. Because something out there is trying to take those things from us. And I think it's winning. It's 8:15 now. I was late getting on tonight. The generator gave me hell. Something in the carburetor clogged up. I sat there for 20 minutes pulling the cord again and again while the light faded behind the hills. And for the first time since this all started, I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe the signal dies with me tonight. Maybe I go quiet like everyone else, and nobody ever knows what this place felt like in the end. But then it coughed back to life. A dry, choking rattle like it didn't want to wake up either. I got one bulb lit, and that's enough. Enough to see the microphone. Enough to speak into the dark. This is Dan Rivers, still here in Little Rock, still holding on to what's left of the airwaves, still hollowcast, still this tiny flickering thread stretched across nothing. I walked further today, past the river, past where the streets start losing their shape and the concrete cracks open like old bone. There was a grocery store there, Rich's Market. Used to be where I bought snacks before my shift. I figured I'd go through the back and see what hadn't been touched. Everything inside was still stocked, not looted, not vandalized, just left. Rows of bread molded into green paperweights, milk cartons swelling with pressure. The worst part was the music. The overhead speakers were still playing, not a station, just a playlist. Old pop hits from the early 2000s, warped by the aging speakers. They echoed through the aisles like ghosts still dancing in the frozen light. I stood there for a long time, and then I heard something move in the freezer section. A soft shuffle. Not loud, just enough to stop me cold. I called out, asked if anyone was there. Silence, then that tone again. The one Everett played. 47 seconds. Low. Mechanical. Carried on the fluorescent buzz like static being whispered. And then nothing. I didn't check the freezer. I don't know why. Maybe I was afraid I'd see something that looked like me. Or worse. Something that didn't. I left with a bottle of vinegar and a can of powdered milk. That was all I could carry without making noise. As if noise matters anymore. As if whatever's still out there isn't already listening. On the walk back, I passed a school bus turned on its side near Oak and 17th. The grass around it had grown high, like it had been there months. But I know it wasn't there 2 days ago. I know because I walked that exact road. It wasn't there. It had Anchor School District printed on the side. We don't have a district called Anchor. I tried to find Everett again today. Drove up to his cabin just before sunset. I could see the door wide open from the tree line. His radio tower was buzzing loud enough to shake the leaves. But he wasn't there. No sign of struggle. No blood. Just a chair still spinning slowly, and a cup of tea that hadn't finished steeping. I touched it. still warm. I don't think he left. I think the world blinked and forgot he was ever in it. I brought his notes back, pages and pages of waveform diagrams, timestamp logs, scribbled phrases. Some are unreadable, like his hand shook too much to hold the pen steady. One line keeps showing up, though, over and over. Everything is downstream of attention. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's not meant for me. I've been trying to stay grounded. I write my name down every morning. Dan Rivers, born 1983, host of Hollowcast. I tape the note to the console, just in case. Just in case I wake up and things have changed again. Just in case I'm the one who forgets next. You ever feel like your memories are softening? Like the edges are being rubbed off? I can still picture my mom's face, but her voice is going. I used to hear it in my head when I got lonely. Now it's fading, like a dream I had years ago that only visits when I'm half asleep. The static is worse at night now, louder, more textured, like something beneath it is trying to form words, but doesn't know how. Sometimes I sit with the headphones on, volume up, and I swear I hear names. Not said, remembered, like the signal is full of memories that don't belong to anyone anymore. This afternoon I saw a woman running, first person I've seen move in days. She was barefoot, covered in mud, clothes torn, ran across the overpass on Broadway like she was chasing something, or maybe being chased. I called out to her. She didn't stop, didn't even turn her head, and then she vanished behind a building that doesn't exist. I know that sounds wrong, but I walked after her, thinking maybe I could help, maybe I could catch her. But the building, this gray glass thing, 5 stories tall. I've never seen it before. It's not on any map. And when I got there, the street behind it was gone. Just a sheer black wall, like the world ended there, like a stage set that ran out of material. I don't know how to explain this. I'm not crazy. I know how that sounds, but I'm not. I've kept logs, notes, sketches. I mark the things that change. I draw the places that shouldn't be. I count how many steps it takes to get from one corner to the next, and sometimes the number is different each day. The world's folding, or shrinking, or being rewritten in real time. I don't know what's causing it, but I know it's not just happening to me. There's an old man who lives 3 blocks over. Name's Harold. I check on him every other day. Today I brought him some of the vinegar I found, and he just stared at me and asked what year it was. I said 2025. He nodded and said, I was born in 2025. He's easily 80 years old. He doesn't remember his children's names. He remembers a lake that never existed here. He keeps talking about a woman named Alma who feeds birds that don't come anymore. He says the birds are the last to go. They remember the sky better than we do. I sat with him for a while. His house smells like burnt metal and pine cleaner. He had the TV on, tuned to nothing, just color bars. But he stared like it was still showing a story he couldn't let go of. When I left, he said something strange. He said, when you're not being looked at, you're not real. That's how it works now. Be seen or be forgotten. I turned back to ask him what he meant, but he wasn't sitting there anymore, just an empty chair. The smell of burnt metal lingered. I don't know what's happening, but I know I'm not alone in seeing it, and I know it's accelerating. Places are changing, people are erasing, memories are becoming suggestions, and the signal, this tone, this hum, it's growing stronger. I've started hearing it even when the radio's off. It's in the plumbing, in the walls, in the silence between thoughts. I'm going to try something tomorrow. I'm going to drive south past Pine Bluff into the forests. There's a station there, WPTX. It's offline now, but it used to have a massive analog transmitter. If I can get it running, I might be able to boost this broadcast further. Reach someone, maybe you. If you're out there, leave something visible. Write your name on a roof. Mark an arrow on the street. Light a fire at night. Let me know you're still here. Because I think visibility is survival now. I'll be back tomorrow. If I remember how to find this place again. If it's still here. If I am. It's 8:22 p.m. I don't think the sun rose today. It got light for a while. Gray, watery light, like a flashlight behind a curtain. But the sky never really changed. No blue, no shadows. Just a kind of dull wash across the tops of the buildings, like the world forgot how to finish what it started. I stood outside for a long time this morning, waiting for something to shift. It never did. This is Dan Rivers, still here, still broadcasting from what's left of KPRX, still calling it hollowcast because it feels like the right name, a voice echoing around inside something that used to be full. I made it down to WPTX. Took the better part of the day. Roads are worse than I remembered. Trees down, street signs wrong, no animals, no birds, just the sound of tires rolling over cracked asphalt and the low hum of the engine. I kept thinking I'd see someone, a walker, a light in a window. But there was nothing, just me, the car, and the trees leaning in like they knew I shouldn't be there. The station's still standing. That surprised me. WPTX used to run big band music and weather reports. It was old when I was a kid, the kind of station that ran on vacuum tubes and duct tape. And somehow, it's still upright. The main tower's twisted at the top, like something tried to pull it into the sky, but the building is intact. There was a single light on in the hallway, flickering, buzzing loud enough to feel in my teeth. The control room was empty, dust everywhere, like no one had touched anything in years. But there was a notepad on the desk, new paper, fresh ink. Someone had been there. No name, no date, just a list. Anchor, verge reflex, mirror, reset. That's all it said. 5 words, written again and again on every line. Anchor, verge reflex, mirror, reset. I didn't stay long. The place felt wrong, the way a room feels after a nightmare leaves it. Not haunted, just vacant, like it had been emptied out of something essential. I drove back in silence. No music, no broadcast, just the road and my thoughts. And as I got close to the city, I noticed something new. The billboards had changed again. Now they all say the same thing. The anchor is holding. White letters on black, no logos, no explanation. I counted 7 of them before I made it back to the station, each perfectly spaced, each facing into the city like they were watching, like they were waiting for something. I don't know what the anchor is, or what it's holding, but I don't think it's for us. Back here, I checked Everett's notes again. Page 32. He'd circled that same phrase, "The anchor is holding," and wrote underneath, "Stability maintained through observation." That matches what Harold said. Be seen or be forgotten. I think something's watching us, and I think that's the only reason we're still here. The parts of the world that are observed stay. The rest dissolves. I spent the afternoon walking block by block, checking on the last houses. There's only 4 of us left in this immediate area. Me, Marcy and her twins, and a man named Terrence who barely speaks. I left a map on each of their doors, marked this station as a meeting point. If this place starts to fold too, I want them to have somewhere to go. I know the signal's weak. I've been adjusting the frequency by hand, swapping out capacitors with what I found at WPTX. Some of the tech doesn't match, but the old analog parts still respond better than anything digital. That's another thing. The digital world is almost entirely gone now. No phones work, no touchscreens, no smart devices, but the old things, manual crank radios, cassette players, analog boards, they still function. As if whatever's eating the world can't process things without a signal to follow. Like it doesn't know how to dismantle something unless it can read it. I've been hoarding books, real paper ones. I don't know why. Something about them feels immune. They don't flicker. They don't melt into new shapes overnight. They just sit, still, solid, like they remember what the world used to be. I found a stack of old field guides at the library. Foraging, knot tying, herbal remedies. I never thought I'd have to learn this stuff, but now it feels like scripture. Survival by remembering. Knowledge preserved in ink, not code. Tonight, the air feels heavier, like the atmosphere is thicker than it should be. I stepped outside to check the wind, and everything was still. The trees weren't moving, but the leaves rustled anyway. I listened close and realized it wasn't wind. It was sound. That same low tone. Carried on nothing. Like it was humming through the earth itself. My voice is starting to echo in the studio now, even when the walls are lined. That shouldn't happen. Acoustically, it makes no sense. But it's there. Like the signal is bouncing back from somewhere it shouldn't be able to reach. Some nights, I catch myself speaking words I don't remember writing, like something else is pushing them through me. I try to stay grounded. I say my name out loud. I say the city. I say the date, even if I know it's wrong. It's October 18th. At least I think it is. If you're still out there, I want you to do something tonight. Before you go to sleep, if sleep still comes, look at yourself in a mirror. Hold your own gaze. Say your name. Say where you are. Say what you remember. Say who you love. Speak it out loud, even if no one hears you, because I think that's what's keeping the last threads of the world together. Memory, naming, witnessing. I'll stay on another 10 minutes tonight, just in case someone's trying to tune in. The tower's pushing out about 60 watts now. Not much, but maybe enough to reach the edges of this city. Maybe more. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if the roads will still be in the same place, or if the sun will bother rising. But I'll keep broadcasting. I'll keep speaking. As long as the signal holds, I'll be here. This is Dan Rivers. You're listening to Hollowcast. We are still here. We are still here. It's just past 8:20 again. I'm starting to lose confidence in the clocks. They still tick. They still count. But the days feel stretched in strange places now. Some afternoons feel endless. Others vanish before I can catch a single hour. I think time's starting to warp. Or maybe it's just me. This is Dan Rivers, and you're still listening to Hollowcast. If this is your first time tuning in, I envy you. That means you've either just started noticing, or maybe you're still in a place where the world hasn't unraveled yet. Either way, welcome to the quiet. It's always waiting. I lost a day, not metaphorically, literally. Yesterday isn't there. I woke up this morning and the date was wrong. Not on the clocks, not on the walls, but in my head. My memories didn't line up. The food I remember eating wasn't open. The generator tank was full, even though I swear I ran it dry. I had a bandage on my hand. No idea how it got there. My fingernails were clean. I haven't had clean fingernails in over a week. I keep a logbook under the console, a record of each day's events, weather, fuel, supplies, known survivors, radio updates. It skips a page now. I didn't do that. My handwriting ends on the 19th. Picks up on the 21st. Nothing in between. I checked the recordings. The broadcast I supposedly gave yesterday doesn't exist. The tape deck is blank. No audio. Just static, then silence. So where did I go? And what happened while I was gone? Marcy's house is empty now. No signs of struggle. Her kids' toys still on the porch. Half-eaten food inside. Her shotgun leaned against the door frame. One shell missing. I called her name until my throat went dry. Walked through the house room by room. Every photo on the walls has her face missing. Just blank ovals where she used to be. I checked my own wallet. My driver's license still shows my name, but the photo is wrong. It's not someone else. It's just empty. Like the light never hit my face. Like the camera never captured anything at all. Something's rewriting us. I went back to WPTX. Don't ask me why. I just felt pulled. Like gravity had changed direction. The building looked older this time. The walls were warped, as if the angles weren't holding. I walked the hallway in a loop, one I swear never ended before. It ended now, at a black door with no handle, just a symbol scratched into the paint. An eye, open, looking sideways. I stood there for a while, hand resting against the wood. Then I heard my own voice, from inside, quiet, repeating something I hadn't said yet. You will not remember this. You will not remember this. I didn't open the door. I ran. I don't know if I'm still entirely me. I try to hold on to things. I hum old songs. I chew the inside of my cheek just to feel something sharp and real. I write my name down in block letters and whisper it into my sleeve. Dan Rivers, 41 years old, radio host, human being, still here. But something's slipping, like a thread unraveling in the middle of my chest. I find myself staring at the same wall for 10, 15 minutes, waiting for it to change. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know which is worse. Terrence came by today. First time he's approached me. He stood at the fence with a notebook, held it up without speaking. Inside, we are being made smaller. That's all it said. Then he turned and walked away. I wanted to ask him what he meant, but I think I already knew. Every day I feel it, the walls inching inward, the range of the broadcast shrinking, the map folding, like whatever's happening isn't just removing people. It's compressing the world, like memory foam pressed by a weight it can't push back against. The billboards now say, "Do not look away." Same style, same placement, same black and white. I stared at one until nightfall, just to see if anything would happen. It didn't change, but the longer I looked, the less I felt like myself. I started thinking about things I'd never done, places I'd never been. I remembered an apartment in Michigan I never lived in, a dog named Lacey I never owned, a sister I never had sobbing in the snow. And then I blinked, and the billboard was blank. No message. Just a gray sheet. I don't know if I imagined it, or if the act of seeing it too long wiped it clean. I keep coming back to Everett's notes. One line keeps echoing. Observation is protection. Witnessing is existence. Maybe the only thing that keeps this world alive is that someone's watching it, naming it, holding it in their head long enough for it to stay. So I'm going to name things now. This microphone is black plastic. It smells like dust and ozone. It squeaks when I move it. The console has 5 green lights. One is flickering. The window is cracked in the corner. A dead moth lies on the sill. Its wings are translucent. The floor creaks when I shift my weight. There is a half-empty thermos of cold coffee next to me. It's bitter. This is a room. This is real. This is now. And if you're listening, say your own name. Say it out loud. I don't care if no one's around to hear it. Say it anyway. You are not gone. You are not gone. You are not gone. Tomorrow, I'll head north. There's a radio repeater in Conway. If it's still intact, I might be able to use it to boost the broadcast further out. Maybe reach as far as Springfield. Maybe find someone else. Maybe hear a new voice. I don't know how much time we have left, but I know the walls are closing. And I know the only thing that fights the darkness is light. Even a flicker. I'll be here again tomorrow. Same time, if time still means anything. Dan Rivers. Hollowcast. Still trying. Still human. Still here. It's sometime after 8. No numbers are sticking tonight. I looked at the clock 4 times, and each time it gave me a different answer. First it said 7:52, then 9:01, then 8:13, then the screen went black, and now I'm not sure if it was ever working at all. The hands on my watch don't move anymore, but when I shake it, I can hear ticking. It's Dan. Still Dan. Still holding a line that's fraying on every end. I made it to Conway. Or what's left of it. The road there looked normal for the first 20 minutes. Trees, gravel shoulders, mailboxes buried in vines. Then the exit started getting strange. Names I didn't recognize. Signs pointing to places I know don't exist. East Anchor Hospital. Reflex District. Skine Loop. I passed an off-ramp that curved into the sky and never came back down. Just rose and rose until it vanished into the clouds like it had somewhere better to be. I stopped once, near a field that used to have horses. I know because I remember watching them when I was younger, leaning out of the back seat while my dad grumbled about traffic. But now it's just metal. Dozens of thin black rods standing in rows, all identical, 8 feet high, no markings, no shadows. They don't sway in the wind. They don't hum. They're just there. I didn't get out of the car. I reached Conway around midday. The town is hollowed out. Not burned, not bombed, just faded. Like the color bled out of everything. Stores without signs. Streets without names. People's homes still standing, but the windows show nothing inside. Just dark. Not shadow. Nothing. I threw a rock through one, and it didn't make a sound. Just vanished into the black. The radio repeater station was still there, but it was locked. I forced the door. Inside was something else. I wish I had the words for it. I really do. There were machines still running, lights still blinking, but none of it made sense. Screens showing static overlaid with faces I couldn't hold in my head. A giant schematic on the wall, labeled in a language I've never seen. The air smelled like copper and mint. I sat down at the console and tried to boost the signal, reroute it, stack it with the hollowcast frequency. I think I got it to stretch another 20 miles, maybe 30 if the wind's right. But while I was sitting there, I heard something breathing. Not human, not angry, just patient. It was coming from behind a sealed door marked, "Do not observe." I left, drove back in silence again. Roads felt different, longer, like I was crossing distance that didn't exist before. Trees were wrong. Leaves pointed the wrong way. At one point, I saw a water tower floating 2 feet off the ground, casting no shadow. The world's not just changing anymore. It's forgetting how to pretend. Back at the station, I noticed the mirror in the hallway is gone. I didn't move it. No one did. Just gone. But the hooks are still there. And when I look at the wall where it used to be, I still expect to see my reflection. I raise my hand. Nothing raises back. I don't know what's left of me that can be reflected anymore. Terrence came back, middle of the afternoon, stood at the door with his eyes closed, holding another notebook. I opened it when he left. A single sentence. "Each time you say your name, it gets heavier." And he's right. Saying Dan Rivers now feels like dragging a wet blanket through gravel, like it takes something from me to make the sound. But I keep saying it, because the moment I don't, I think I disappear. The sky has no stars tonight. None. Not even a hint. Just a flat black dome. Like we're inside something now, and whoever designed it forgot to draw the lights back in. The billboards are changing faster. I saw one melt while I watched. Not burn, melt. The letters drooped like wax, then reformed into a phrase I didn't recognize. Level 3 / witness severance in progress. I said it out loud, just to hear how it sounded. My nose bled for 10 minutes after. I don't know what that means. I don't know who's doing it, or why. But I think this isn't just a collapse. It's a harvest, not of food, not of bodies, of presence, of attention. Something is thinning the world down to what matters most to it, and we're not at the top of that list. Everett once wrote that reality has inertia, that the more people believe something, the more resistant it becomes to change. But what happens when belief runs out? When enough people vanish, and the remaining ones start doubting what's left? We fall. We fall into something quieter. I'm going to keep broadcasting. That's all I know how to do. As long as I have this voice, as long as I have a signal, I'll be here. Even if the world collapses into nothing but static and echo and breath, I will say names. I will say places. I will describe what I see. Because if someone out there hears me and remembers even one word, then maybe something in this world will hold. Even just a corner. The chair beneath me is cracked. Leather peeling. Squeaks when I shift. The air smells like ozone and old coffee. The lights hum like they're afraid of the dark. And this voice, this one right here, this is me, Dan Rivers. Not gone, not erased, still watching, still speaking, still something. It's sometime in the evening. That's the best I can give you. There's a dull red smear behind the trees. That's where the sun should be. But it hasn't set properly in 2 nights now. Just drags itself along the horizon like it's stuck, like it doesn't know which direction to go. I watched it for 3 hours today. Didn't move an inch. Just hovered there like a dying eye. This is Dan Rivers. still holding the mic, still hollowcast, still trying to get the words out before they disappear inside me. The air in here's heavier, not from heat, something else. Like pressure, like the atmosphere in this booth is changing, cell by cell. My ears ring constantly now, a high whine under everything, even under silence. And when I breathe too fast, I swear I can hear other breathing patterns overlaid on mine, like echoes from somewhere too close. I walked downtown today, just to see if any familiar markers were still holding. They're not. Capitol Avenue loops now. I mean that literally. I walked 5 blocks east, and it fed back into the start like I'd never left. Storefronts repeated, the same shattered blue bike rack 3 times in a row. I marked the sidewalk with chalk. Same spot. Again. Again. Then I turned a corner, and the sky was on the wrong side. There was a building there I didn't recognize. Glass and steel, tinted black, no doors, no windows, no sign. It reflected me as I passed, but not quite right. My gait was off. My face wasn't lit from the same angle. My reflection blinked twice when I hadn't blinked once. I didn't go near it. Inside the loop, I found a paper taped to a lamppost. Handwritten, sloppy, smudged. Just said, "If you forget me, I am gone." And under it, in smaller print, say it 3 times before sleep. There were other notes like that, scattered across phone booths, windshield wipers, mail slots, little messages scrawled on whatever was left, each one pleading in a different voice. Don't forget the children. They're still nearby. Blue doors are lies. You are the last one who remembers this park. The sky was never like this before Anchor. Anchor. Always that word. Everywhere now. I got back to the station and found one of the ceiling tiles missing. I didn't remove it, but above it, wedged into the crawl space, was a Polaroid photo. Old. Faded. I don't own a Polaroid, but the image was of this room. My chair, my microphone, me, sitting right here. Only, it wasn't me. It looked like me. But the hair was wrong. The eyes were wrong. And in the photo, there were 2 microphones. There's only one now. I haven't touched it. It's sitting here beside me on the desk. I don't know how it got there, or why, or who took the picture, but I'm keeping it, because part of me feels like proof is going to matter soon, like everything we remember is about to become contested. I still have the signal running through WPTX. The repeater's unstable now. It pulses instead of sustaining, like the broadcast is being filtered through something dense. Sometimes when I play back the recordings, my voice stutters, glitches. Last night's tape had a full minute where my words repeated out of order. I don't remember saying, "Don't breathe the new air." But I said it, clear as day. Maybe I said it in one of the missing hours. Maybe I'm splitting. Different versions of me trying to use the same body, the same station. Maybe I'm not even alone in here anymore. I still haven't opened that door at WPTX, the one labeled "Do Not Observe," but I dream about it now. Every time I sleep, I see it. I walk toward it. I press my hand against the frame. Sometimes I hear breathing. Sometimes I hear myself begging not to be let in. But I never see what's behind it. I don't want to. The people are thinning even faster now. There used to be a man who walked by the front gate every morning at 9 a.m. on the dot. Big coat, wide shoulders, never waved, just walked, paused, kept walking. He hasn't shown in 2 days, but I still hear his footsteps. Same time, same pace. But when I look, no one there. This morning, I heard a knock at the back door. I opened it immediately. No one. But my name had been etched into the concrete outside. Over and over, hundreds of times. As if someone sat there all night, carving it again and again with a nail or a piece of glass. Dan Rivers. Some of the lines were fresh. Some were old, like they'd been there for years. But I've never seen them before today. I don't know who I am to the world anymore. A name spoken into static. A voice holding back the dark for one more hour. That's it. That's all I have left. I'm going to try something tomorrow. I found an old broadcast antenna kit in the basement. It's analog, shortwave capable. If I rig it right, I might be able to bounce a signal across the states. Maybe even reach Canada. I don't know who's still out there, but someone has to be. And if they hear this, I want them to know. We're not lost. We're being removed. Systematically. And we need to be witnessed to survive. Say your name tonight. Say it until it hurts. Say someone else's too. Anyone you remember. Even if they're gone. Because the moment you stop naming them, they fall out of the world. I'll be back tomorrow, I think, if the tower's still here. If the voice that lives in my mouth is still mine. Until then, this is Dan Rivers. Still watching, still remembering, still human, still here. The lights don't come on anymore. They flicker when I power up the board, then fade. But the console still glows. The meter still jumps when I speak. So maybe that's enough. Maybe I don't need to see the room anymore. Maybe the only thing that matters is that the words still go out. This is Dan Rivers. Or something that remembers being him. Still here. Still hollowcast. Still burning battery to throw a rope into the dark. I lost something today. Not an object. Not a place. A piece of memory. Gone. It started when I tried to write my mother's name. I couldn't remember it. Not just forgotten. Erased. The letters wouldn't come. My hand shook. My chest tightened. I sat there for 20 minutes staring at the blank page, feeling like I was trying to reach a photograph buried in tar. And when I finally gave up, I looked down and saw I'd written something else. A name I don't know. Maevra. I don't know anyone named Mavra. But the moment I read it, I started crying. No sound, just wet eyes and shaking hands. The air has a hum in it now. Constant. Not from the generator. From everything. It's like the entire world is buzzing at a frequency just above what our bones are supposed to tolerate. Every time I turn my head, it feels like I miss something. Like there was a moment there. A shape. A person. And then it slithered back into the folds of whatever's behind the curtain. I tried the mirror again. It's back. Hanging on the wall where it disappeared days ago. But this time, it reflects nothing. Not even the room. Just gray. Like a screen waiting to buffer. I touched it. It was cold. Not glass cold. Not metal cold. Something deeper. Like the absence of sensation itself. And when I pulled my hand away, I saw static crawling over my skin for a second before it blinked out. My reflection is gone. That's the truth. There's no more me in mirrors. I walked down to the bridge over 6th Street. There used to be graffiti there. Old paint layered so thick it bubbled in the sun. All of it's been covered with the same phrase. We were too loud. Over and over. Block letters. Black on red. Like a warning or an apology. I shouted under that bridge. I screamed my name. Nothing answered, not even an echo. I think sound is dying next. It makes sense. If memory is going, then sound would be next. Sound is memory in motion. A vibration that only exists because we expect it to. If that expectation thins, the noise disappears too. Terrence came again. Same time. Sunset. He didn't speak. He stopped speaking entirely, just slid a note across the table and stood there while I read it. Check your back. I froze. Asked him what he meant. He just nodded once and left. I went into the bathroom, peeled off my shirt, and across my shoulders, in faint red lines, were letters. Not carved, not inked, just written somehow. Level 4. Memory. Desync confirmed. I didn't put that there. No one could have. I haven't slept deeply enough for someone to sneak in. I don't know what level 4 means, but I think I'm slipping further. I've started hearing numbers in the broadcast feedback. Not tones, spoken numbers. Whispered, low, like coordinates. I wrote them down. 34.754, negative 92.297. 34.764, negative 92.321. 34.781, minus 92.334. 34.800, minus 92.345. Each one moves a little west, like a trail. I'll follow them tomorrow. Even if it's bait. Even if it's something else wearing my voice, calling me forward. Because doing nothing now feels worse than walking into a trap. The stars are still gone. The sky is solid black. Except for one light. A single white dot, high above, unmoving. I stared at it for an hour. It didn't flicker, didn't shift, just watched. When I blinked, I saw it burned into my vision. Even now, it's hovering in the corner of my eye, like an afterimage that doesn't fade. I think it's looking back. I don't think it's a star. I don't think the sky is even real anymore. I found a photo album under the station desk this afternoon. Never seen it before. Leather-bound, dusty. I opened it, expecting old station staff pictures, but every photo was of me. Dozens of them. Different angles, different clothes, different versions. One of them had no eyes. One of them was waving from inside the booth, even though I was outside taking the picture. The last photo was blank, but I could feel something moving under the surface. Like the image was trying to form but couldn't finish. I closed it and put it in a drawer. It's still humming, even now, even with the drawer shut. I don't know how long I have. I don't know how long we have. But I know this. If there's even one of you still listening, even one of you hearing this through the static and the bending, say your name tonight. Say what you see. Say what you remember. Because every spoken word is a nail in the floorboards. Every memory is a light left on. And I will not let this world go dark quietly. Dan Rivers. Still speaking, still here. I think. No clockworks now. I don't mean they're broken. I mean they all show different times, and none of them move. They just pick a number and stay there, like they're guessing, like they're trying to act like they still matter. It's Dan. Dan Rivers. I wrote that down just now on my hand. I had to. I forgot for a second. I was setting up the transmitter for tonight, double-checking the range against what's left of the map, and I looked up at the whiteboard where I usually keep my call notes, and there was nothing. Not even eraser dust. Just clean surface, like I'd never used it before. But I remember writing there last night. A checklist. Fuel, batteries, supplies, signal path. Gone. The marker I used was snapped in half and sitting inside the coffee mug I left in the hallway. I haven't touched that mug in days. Today, I followed the coordinates. The first one led to an empty parking lot where a movie theater used to be. No sign of it now. Just bare ground and a square of exposed concrete with no seams. No cracks. Like it had never been built on. But when I stood in the center of the coordinates, I heard my voice. A whisper, half a syllable at a time, like the delay from an old headset loop. But it wasn't the broadcast. It was something else. It said, "You're early." I didn't stay. Second set of coordinates took me to a field outside an old substation. The grass there was metallic. Not just the color, actually metal. Blades sharp enough to slice my jeans. And when the wind blew, the grass made a sound like violins tuning. Hundreds of them, out of sync. I saw footprints there, human, barefoot, small. But they didn't lead anywhere. Just walked out 20 feet from the road, circled once, and vanished. Like the person just stopped existing in mid-step. Third set, forest clearing. There was something waiting. It wasn't a person. Not in the sense that you or I would recognize. It had a shape, but the shape didn't sit still. It moved like liquid in a bag, flickered in and out like bad video, and it was holding a mirror. Not facing me, facing itself. I spoke. It didn't, but the mirror showed me standing next to it, and the version of me in the mirror smiled. I left. Fast. I didn't look back. I don't know if the fourth location exists. I haven't tried it yet. My hands were shaking too hard to keep driving. I came back here instead, locked the door, bolted the windows. The generator's running hotter. No reason for it. Fuel's clean. Intake's clear. But it's buzzing at a higher pitch. Like it's under strain. Like the air around it is thickening. I tried opening a window earlier, and everything outside was slightly off. Not wrong, just misaligned. The trees leaned the wrong way. My shadow bent across the wall and touched things I hadn't touched yet. There was a moment this afternoon, less than a second, where I looked down at my hands and saw that they had no fingerprints. Smooth, blank. I blinked, and they were back. But I can't shake the feeling that I'm being versioned, cloned and dropped back into the wrong slot every time I sleep. Speaking of sleep, don't trust it. I had a dream that folded back on itself 5 times. I counted. I dreamt of waking up, walking to the console, starting the broadcast, talking for an hour, then waking up again. Same thing, over and over. But each time the studio was different. Fewer dials, fewer lights, less detail. Until the last version was just a chair and a mic floating in nothing. And I still sat down and spoke. I woke up screaming, throat raw, nails embedded in my palms. There were no recordings from the dream broadcasts, but the transmitter was hot. Something had been sent. I don't know if it was me. The loop downtown is worse now. Entire buildings phasing in and out. I saw a gas station blink 3 times in under a minute. I walked up to the window and saw myself behind the counter. He waved. I did not wave back, because his eyes weren't mine. They were mirrors. That's what it's doing, isn't it? It's not erasing us. It's rewriting us. Each time the world forgets, it doesn't leave a blank. It fills it with something close, something almost right. We're living in the drafts now, and the drafts are learning to stand on their own. I still have the broadcast pushing out over both towers now, weak but steady. I wired in the backup frequency Everett logged before he vanished. 47.047 megahertz, ultra low, short bursts. I don't know who can hear it, but when I play a tone into that band, the feedback is music. Slow, warped music, like a lullaby in reverse. Something is listening. I know it. I feel it watching me between words. I feel it fill the silences when I breathe. And still, I speak. Because that's all I can do. That's all we've ever had, isn't it? Words, memory, witnessing. That's the thing they can't replicate, not perfectly. The human stutter, the trembling pause, the emotion wrapped around a name you haven't spoken in years. So I will speak. I will say names. Sarah, Jordan, Elise, Mark, Nathaniel, Sophie, Everett, Marcy, her twins, Terrence. I remember you. You are not gone. I don't care what the mirrors say. I don't care how many layers they add, how many versions they smear over us like paint on an old canvas. I will scrape it away, one word at a time. This is Dan Rivers. Still, whatever's left of me, still on air, still trying, still human. I don't know if this is the 10th night, could be the 100th, could be the first, repeating endlessly. I tried scratching tallies into the wall earlier, but the plaster kept healing. I'd mark a line, turn away, look back, and it was gone. Like the wall refused to remember. The only reason I know I've said all this before is because my throat hurts in the same place it did yesterday. I'm Dan Rivers. Or I was. If there's still a Dan Rivers inside this voice, he's bruised, but breathing. Hollowcast is still transmitting, barely. The signal strength flickers, and sometimes the meters show impossible numbers. Negative frequencies, reverse voltages. I don't try to fix it anymore. It seems the more I try to correct the world, the more it resists. Like I'm the one who's wrong, not the signal. There's a new wrinkle now. Time doesn't move the same in different parts of town. I drove to Hillcrest this afternoon, at least I thought I did. And when I got there, it was dawn. Not metaphorical. Literal sun peeking over the rooftops. Same place. Different hour. I checked the clock on the dash. 7:12 a.m. When I turned around and drove back, the sun reset. It snapped. No fade. No motion. Just blinked from gold to black. And then it rained for 5 seconds. Only 5. Then silence. The air smelled like burnt plastic and rainwater. I stepped outside and the trees were wet, but the ground was dry. None of this makes sense anymore. None of it follows rules. Terrence is gone now. Really gone. I found his notebook in the booth today. No blood. No struggle. Just a single page torn out and taped to the console. Observer reached maximum recursion. Exit was mercy. That's all. No body. No sound. Just absence. There's an empty chair outside the front door now. It wasn't there yesterday. old wicker, frayed cushion, facing the horizon. When I looked out the window at sundown, the chair rocked once. No wind, no one near it. Just that slow creak. The mirrors in the hallway, there are more now. I didn't put them there. But every time I walk past, the reflections have changed again. Different shirts, different haircuts. One of them was smoking. I've never smoked in my life. Another was crying, staring at me, mouth wide open like he was screaming. No sound. I don't look anymore. I cover them with cloth. It doesn't help. At night, I hear them whispering. I don't know what they want. I don't know if they're future versions of me, or failed drafts trying to get back in. The repeater's gone entirely. Not broken. Gone. I drove to the coordinates. WPTX was never there. Just a parking lot with a faded sign that says, "Do not reinstall." I don't know what that means. I came back and dug through Everett's notes again. One sheet caught my eye. Folded small, tucked between waveform prints. On it, in red ink, mass disappearance, phase 5. Memory, veil lifted. And underneath it, a phrase I've seen before. Anchor breached, re-index initiated. I'm starting to think we didn't disappear. We were archived. Like old data. Like versions of a reality that was too noisy to keep. And now, whatever system is running this place, this loop, this echo, it's compressing the world down to its most efficient shape. Which means anything extraneous is being overwritten, left behind, forgotten, unless someone names it. Unless someone says, I was there. That was real. You were real. There was a dog named Charlie that lived 2 blocks over, yellow lab. Used to bark at everyone who passed, always wagged his tail. I don't see dogs anymore. I remember that bark. I remember the torn tennis ball in his mouth. I remember the day he chewed through my neighbor's garden hose and we all laughed about it. That happened. I don't care what this place says. That happened. And if this is my job now, if my role is to be the last stubborn mouth that refuses to forget, then so be it. So here's the truth. This mic is old. It buzzes on the low end. The rubber sleeve is torn. The label peeled off years ago. But it still works. Because I speak into it. The walls are painted beige. The kind of beige that comes from 30 years of smoke and time and air conditioning grit. The window's cracked. I don't fix it. It lets me hear the night. The desk still has old coffee stains. One of them is shaped like a crescent moon. I've stared at that stain more times than I can count. These are the real things. They ground me. And if you're still out there, if your hands are still warm, and your eyes still blink, and your breath still fogs a mirror, I want you to write something down tonight. Anything. Your name. A memory. A place that used to make you feel like yourself. Tape it to a wall. Say it aloud. Even if the sky splits. Even if the road curls backward. Even if the faces you pass today don't match the ones from yesterday. Speak. Anchor yourself to the sound. Because hollowcast isn't just a signal. It's a scream with rhythm. It's a prayer made of noise. It's me, Dan Rivers, still broadcasting, still real, until something bigger says otherwise. I'll be back tomorrow, if tomorrow's still permitted. If the voice in the mirror lets me speak, if I still remember the words. I used to know the shape of this city. Now it feels like a suggestion, a sketch, Someone's memory of a city who never lived here. This is Dan Rivers, and I'm back on the air. At least, I think I am. The transmitter light is blinking. The mic still buzzes when I breathe. That has to mean something. I went outside today, and the streets had changed. They were softer. Not dirt, not gravel, just less real. Like the ground forgot how to hold weight. My boots left no prints. I walked for 2 hours and nothing made a sound. Not my steps, not the breeze, not even the leaves moving. Just that hush. That dead hum between frequencies that never stops anymore. I passed an intersection that used to be a gas station. It's a garden now. Overnight. Perfect rows. Fresh soil. Sprouts no higher than my shin. No footprints. No shovel marks. Just a hand-painted sign. Please do not pick the people. I stood there and stared at it for 10 minutes. It was still warm from the sun. But I don't remember seeing a sun today. I remember light, but not its source. I remember shadows that pointed in 2 directions. I remember the sky looking too deep, like if I stared too long, it would pull me up. Back at the station, the clocks are gone, not broken. Gone. Every one. Even the ones painted into the wall art. Even the printed ones in old posters. Scrubbed clean, replaced with smooth blankness. The wall calendar now reads, unscheduled present. Hold current conscious state. I didn't write that. I don't know who did. I looked in the mirror just before going live. It showed someone else. A version of me with a scar I don't have. A missing tooth I've never lost. But he nodded at me, and I nodded back. And then the reflection faded, leaving only static. Not visual static. Audio. From the mirror. I know how that sounds. But I heard myself say, don't keep going. It's already inside you. I said nothing, but my throat ached like I'd screamed. There's a burn mark on my chest now. Faint. Round. Like something pressed a hot coin into my skin while I slept. I haven't slept in 34 hours. I don't trust sleep. I don't know who wakes up inside this voice anymore. My handwriting is changing. Yesterday my notes were upright and sharp. Today they're looping, open, like a child's. I caught myself signing a note to no one with the name Don. Don, not Dan. It wasn't a typo. It was confident, certain. Like it was always my name. It's starting to slip, isn't it? The tether. The thing that keeps me here. The more I name what I see, the more it changes. The more I insist something exists, the more likely it will mutate. Because maybe this place is tired of being known. Maybe observation isn't just preservation. Maybe it's friction. Where? And I've been dragging too much attention across a world not built to hold it anymore. But what's the alternative? Let go? Let it all fade? I won't. Not yet. Not while I still have a mouth and a mic. Today, I found a child's drawing taped to the inside of the studio door. I didn't put it there, but it was in crayon, orange and green. A stick figure, smiling, standing next to a box with waves coming off it. Below the picture, in careful block letters, radio makes me safe. I cried for half an hour after that. I don't know who drew it, or if it was meant for me, but it gave me something I haven't had in a while. Purpose. If you're out there, if your hands are shaking and your breath stutters, and you've started forgetting the sound of your own name, I want you to know something. The noise isn't just the end. It's the memory of what was. And it can be shaped, named, held, I don't know who's behind this. I don't know if it's a machine, or a god, or some massive wave of forgetting sweeping across existence like wind through tall grass. But I do know this. You don't disappear all at once. You fade, slowly, thought by thought, name by name, and it can be stopped, or slowed, with memory, with ritual, with stubborn, angry humanity. Write something down tonight. A recipe, a dream, a phone number from childhood, anything. Say it out loud 3 times, then bury it in a place only you know. Tell no one, because they're listening now, and not everything that listens understands what it means to be human. I'll be back tomorrow. If tomorrow still fits in the shape of this world, if I remember how to get back here, if I'm still Dan, still Rivers, still real, still here. I opened the door to the hallway this morning and it was gone. The hallway, I mean. Where it used to be was just a smooth black wall. No trim, no hinges, like it had never existed. Like someone took the entire concept of a hallway and edited it out of the building. I stood there for a long time, hand on the knob, staring at what wasn't there. Then I closed the door again, and the wall behind it sighed. That's how the day started. This is Dan Rivers, still here, I think, still transmitting on what's left of the spectrum, still hollowcast, though sometimes I feel like I'm just rebroadcasting my own echo, some earlier version of myself preserved in delay. The booth's smaller than it was yesterday. It's not just a feeling. The distance between the mic and the console is shorter, the window's closer. I knocked my elbow against the wall just turning around. This place is shrinking, not metaphorically, physically. I checked the floor plan map taped to the side cabinet. It's different now. Fewer rooms. The storage wing? Gone. The kitchen? Gone. The emergency stairwell? Never existed. Only the studio remains. The chair. The board. The microphone. And me. And even I feel thinner. Lighter in the wrong way. Like someone peeled a layer off in my sleep and forgot to put it back. I don't sleep much anymore. When I do, I dream of staircases that end in mirrors, of oceans made from letters, of voices speaking my memories back to me in the wrong order. Today, I heard music coming from outside. A lullaby, something slow and mechanical, like a music box left out in the rain. I stepped onto the roof and saw speakers mounted on poles where the trees used to be. 6 of them, all playing in sync, all playing the same 8-note pattern over and over. I followed the sound for an hour. The speakers led me in a spiral right back to the station. There were no wires, no power sources, just metal and music and nothing else. And in the middle of the spiral, scratched into the concrete, forgotten things return to the center. I don't know what that means. Not yet. But I keep thinking about that night I lost an entire day. When I blacked out. When I couldn't account for the time. I wonder if I ended up in the center then. If that's where they hold the things not quite gone. Not quite remembered. There's a small hatch behind the transmitter I never noticed before. Old, rusted, hidden behind a panel labeled Convergence Lockout. I haven't opened it, but I can feel air leaking through the seams, and when I press my ear to it, I hear someone breathing. Slow, steady, familiar. I think it's me. I think I'm already in there. And this version of me is the copy. I don't know what to do with that. I found an old cassette today. Label worn to nothing. But the tape was intact. I played it. Static for the first minute. Then a child's voice. Software cracking. She said, "I don't want to forget you, even if you disappear. Even if I do. I'll remember you anyway." Then silence. Then the same voice, older now. "If you can hear this, you're real. Keep saying it. Don't stop." And the last line was my own voice. Dan Rivers, Dan Rivers, Dan Rivers. Over and over, until the tape snapped. I didn't record that. I don't know where it came from. But I keep hearing it now, looping under the static, as if the broadcast is bleeding old recordings back into the stream. As if everything I've said since the first night has been layered, stacked, and is starting to collapse under its own weight. The mirrors. God, the mirrors. They're alive now, not figuratively. They move when I'm not looking. I caught one shifting on its hook earlier. It turned, just slightly. Just enough to see something in the corner of its reflection that shouldn't be there. A face, pressed against the glass. Not mine, not human, no features, just shape, a suggestion of watching. When I blinked, it was gone, but the mirror was warm to the touch, like something had leaned against it for a long time. I covered it with a towel. It burned through, so now I let it watch. Better to know where it is, better to know what's looking. If I go missing tomorrow, if I don't broadcast, assume the voice that replaces me is not me. Listen closely. It won't get the rhythm right. It won't remember the coffee stain shaped like a crescent moon. It won't know how the booth smells like dust and melted plastic when the lights come on. It won't know the way my voice cracks on certain syllables. It won't know to tap the desk twice when I get nervous. I do that. I just did it now. That's how you'll know it's me. If the version you hear tomorrow doesn't do that, turn the radio off, break the antenna, bury your name, and run. But if I'm still me, if I wake up in this skin again, I'll keep speaking. I'll keep pushing sound into the void until something gives. Because even if the world is collapsing in layers, even if the voice is all that's left, that voice is mine, and I won't let them take it. This is Dan Rivers. Still here, still holding, still real, at least this version. I'll see you tomorrow, if we both remember how. There was a knock at the door, 3 soft taps. Same rhythm I use on the desk when I'm nervous. I didn't answer, didn't move, just sat here and listened as it came again. 3 taps, a pause, then nothing. No footsteps, no retreating sound, just absence. That's how today started. This is Dan Rivers, or what's left of him. Broadcasting again from the narrowing world, signal range unknown. I've stopped checking the meters. They spin now. No numbers, just motion, like they're guessing. The building changed shape overnight. I know that sounds like a metaphor, but I mean it. The studio used to face south. I remember because the sunrise used to glare through the window at 6:45. Today, it came from the west. And it didn't rise. It flickered, like someone skipped ahead in a video. I walked the perimeter this afternoon, tried to map the exterior. It's wrong now. The entrance is gone. The door I used to step out into the alley? Not there. Just wall, solid and featureless, like it was never carved open. I searched for the knob. I ran my hands along the brick. Nothing. I might be sealed in now. I keep telling myself that's a good thing. Safer. Contained. Preserved. But there's a part of me, the quiet part I try not to listen to, that says maybe the world just stopped including me. Maybe I've been snipped from the script. Maybe this booth is the only thing still rendering. I tried reaching out on channel 4.8 again. No human responses. Just the tone, same one Everett warned me about. That low hum, almost like language buried under layers of static. But it's changing now. There's rhythm to it. Not quite speech. Not quite music. Something in between. I think it's trying to speak. Or remember how. I broadcasted my name across that channel 20 minutes ago, just to see if it would respond. Dan Rivers. Dan Rivers. Dan Rivers. Over and over. After 5 minutes, I heard my name come back. But the voice was wrong. Too smooth. Too clean. It said, Dan Rivers acknowledged. Preparing render loop. Then silence. I shut it off. There's something else happening now. I call it the fold. It started with doors, then mirrors. Now entire blocks are collapsing inward. I watched the skyline last night. Buildings don't fall anymore. They fold, like paper, like the map is being compacted to save memory. I saw the bank tower crumple in on itself without a sound, like someone hit undo, just gone. The streets are turning into loops. I've walked the same block 6 times, each time from a different direction. The billboards are back. New messages this time. One of them said, "Sink lost, attempting to reconstitute authority." Another said, "If you're reading this, you're out of phase." They're not for us. They're for whatever's managing this place, cleaning it, resetting it, like a maintenance script that forgot what its job was but keeps running anyway. I keep thinking about Terrence's last note. Observer reached maximum recursion. Exit was mercy. Maybe this is what happens when you watch too long, when you remember too hard. You burn through the layers. You see the scaffolding underneath, the ugly gridwork holding up the illusion. And once you see it, it sees you. I feel it now. Watching, not from a point, not from a place, from everywhere I'm not. It waits in the spaces I'm not occupying, and the moment I blink, it breathes. The chair moved again today. The one outside. No wind, no footsteps, just a new position. This time it faced the mirror. I looked out and saw myself sitting in it. But I was in here. He smiled, then vanished. I still don't know what the anchor is, or if it ever held anything at all. I still remember those first nights, when people were just vanishing. Shoes left behind, meals unfinished, kids' toys still warm from play. It felt like grief then, like a tragedy. Now it feels like optimization, like the world's being cleaned for a new tenant. And we were just clutter. But I refuse. I refuse to vanish without making noise. If this booth is the last cell in the body of a dying world, then I'll make it ring. If I am a virus in the system, then I'll be the one that doesn't compress. You hear me? I'm still here. I still remember my street, the sound my tires made pulling into the driveway, the smell of rain on hot pavement, the rusted bell above the record shop downtown, the way the bakery used to give out free donuts before closing. None of that is gone. Because I remember, because I speak it, and so can you. If you're listening, if your ears still work, if your skin still itches when it's cold. Say something tonight. Say the name of someone who made you laugh once. Say what color their jacket was. Say what they were eating when you knew you loved them. And if the wind bends the wrong way while you're doing it, don't stop. Because the silence is catching. And once it finds you, it never lets go. I'll keep going. I'll keep turning this broken voice box into a beacon. Even if it warps, even if it loops, even if I speak myself into dust. This is Dan Rivers, still resisting, still real, still here. I opened my mouth today and someone else's voice came out. Just for a moment, mid-sentence. I was talking to myself, out loud, like I do now, just to hear something familiar. And then the tone changed. Deeper. No breath behind it. Like the words were pre-recorded. It said, "Collapse acknowledged. Proceeding with memory filtration." Then it was me again. No echo, no glitch, just a hard cut. I sat on the floor for 20 minutes, back against the wall, hand over my throat, listening, waiting to see if it would happen again. It didn't. But now I keep thinking, if my voice can be hijacked, how much of me is still under my control? I've stopped sleeping entirely, not just because of the dreams, but because sleep moves the room. I tested it, left a marble on the desk before I dozed off for 10 minutes. When I woke, it was gone. Found it 2 hours later in the generator room. I don't remember going in there. But the lock was broken. I've started securing everything. Cabinets, drawers, mic stands. Not to keep things out, but to keep me from putting things where they don't belong. I leave notes now, addressed to myself. Don't move the photos. The mirror is not you. Tape only plays one way. I still broadcast. That's the only constant. That red light blinks, and the mic hums, and my voice pours out like I still matter. This is Dan Rivers, or the part of him that still knows how to speak. Still hollowcast. Still reaching. Still real. I walked to the perimeter again today. It's closer than it used to be. The buildings beyond 12th Street are just silhouettes now, cutouts, paper props behind a gray screen. I walked into one. It had no inside, just texture, like the idea of a building rendered at low resolution. I pressed my hand into it and felt nothing. Not air, not heat, just blankness. Like the space had never been coded. I backed away slowly. On the way back, I passed a bus stop where a man used to sit every morning. I used to see him reading a newspaper, always the sports page. Glasses low on his nose, wore the same navy blue jacket, even in July. Today the bench was empty, but the jacket was there, folded, clean. On the seat, someone had scratched, "We remember you." I left it untouched, because that's all we can do now, isn't it? Remember. Speak, refuse to forget. The tower's acting strange again. Every hour on the hour, it drops signal for 13 seconds. Exactly 13. No static, no loss, just absence. The kind of absence that makes your teeth ache. And then it comes back, but a little off. Pitch shifted, signal bent, like something else got stitched into the transmission. I can hear laughter in the background now. Kids, playing, on a loop. But it doesn't sound right. Too clean, too perfect. No pauses, no variations. Just a synthetic joy on repeat. I think it's meant to distract me, or soothe me, or trap me. I turned it down. I don't want to forget what real voices sound like. Everett wrote something in his final notebook. I found the page behind the transmitter, folded tight, taped to the inside of the casing. He wrote, "Once the sky folds, the final layer begins." Well, the sky folded this morning, right down the middle. A crease formed at sunrise. The clouds bent in sync. Birds, what few were left, veered away. And for 10 seconds, the world shimmered like glass under heat. Then it snapped back. But it left a seam. A vertical line across the sky that hasn't moved since. I've tried not to stare, but I can't help it. There's something on the other side. Not a shape, not a place, just awareness. Like a face made of distance. Like the horizon finally woke up. I stood under it for hours, radio clipped to my belt, listening to the same phrase repeating across all frequencies. End user acknowledged, readying dissolve. No one speaks anymore. Even the ghosts have gone quiet. But I'm still here. I still speak. Because if they take the voice, that's it. That's when the final silence wins. I want you to do something tonight. Find a mirror. Any mirror. Stand in front of it. Look at yourself. Really look. Describe what you see out loud. Every detail. The scar on your cheek. The lines near your eyes. The mole on your neck you always hated. Name them. Say them. Speak them into permanence. Because they're trying to blur you. And if you become undefined, you go next. This is Dan Rivers. Still named. Still shaped. Still sound. Still light. Still here. For now. There's a piece of sky missing now. Not clouds, not dark. Just gone. Like a rectangle cut from the atmosphere with scissors. A clean, perfect gap where stars should be. And through it, nothing. Not black. Not void. Just the absence of even the idea of color. I don't know how long it's been there. Maybe it's always been there. And the rest of the sky was faking it. This is Dan Rivers. Still saying it. Still reminding myself what I'm called, in case something else tries to step in. Still hollowcast. Still here. The booth is different again. The walls ripple when I speak. Not like an echo, more like a mirror made of syrup. Sound changes the shape of things now. I tapped the desk twice earlier and watched the ceiling bend in sympathy. I don't know how much longer this space will hold its form. I write on the walls now. Not messages. Just words, anchors. Lamp, chair cord, mic, hand, me. They smear by morning. Letters melt down the plaster like wet ink. But for a few hours, it helps. It gives the space shape. I tried to draw a face yesterday. Not mine. A memory. My father's, I think. Eyebrows too thick. Laugh lines deep. But by sundown, the paper had rewritten itself. The face was blank. The page said, "Wrong render." So I burned it. No fire. Just turned to ash in my hand like it was waiting to be let go. I'm not sure where I am anymore. The roads don't lead to places. Just loops. Just mirrored corridors. I walked through the same intersection 3 times today, each time from a new angle. Stoplights still worked, but the cars were frozen, not abandoned, still idling. Wipers moving, radios humming, no people. I opened one of them. Driver's seat was empty, but there was an impression, like someone had just stood up. The heat still hung in the air. In the back seat, photos, stacks of them, all blank, but labeled. Mom's birthday, first apartment, snow in Memphis, Dad's hands, just captions, no images. I took one with me. It reads, "You laughing when I fell in the river." I keep it in my shirt pocket. Because even if I don't remember falling, I remember laughing. That has to count for something. There's a sound now, under everything. Not static, not feedback. A kind of low shiver, like wind scraping the inside of a throat. It starts every day at dusk and lasts until I speak. Then it pulls back, like it's waiting for silence, like it needs absence to move. I won't give it that. I found a child's voice in the loop again today, same as before, repeating, "Do you remember your shape? Do you remember your shape? Do you remember?" Over and over until the words stopped sounding like words. I screamed back, "Yes!" And the voice paused, then whispered, "That's what they take next." I haven't looked at my hands since. Not directly. I think I know what I'd see. Mirrors are gone, all of them. The walls smoothed over where they hung. No cracks. No dust. Just clean absence. Even the water in the jug won't show a reflection. I poured it out onto the ground just to see if it would make a splash. It didn't. Just disappeared. Everything's losing weight. I held a book today and it felt like paper air. The words inside barely registered, like they were printed in ink that didn't want to be read. I tried to write over them. My pen snapped in half. There was no ink inside, only dust. Even time is soft now. I thought it was morning earlier. Then I turned and the streetlights were on. No transition, no fade, just night. I stood still for a full hour. Not because I wanted to, because I couldn't move. My feet weren't stuck. There was just no next step. Like the world hadn't loaded that part yet. Like I was waiting for someone to press resume. When it passed, I ran, fast as I could. Back here. Back to the booth. Back to this chair and this mic and this signal. Because this dash. This is the only thing that still moves with me. The only thing that reacts when I speak. The only thing that knows I exist. The board hums, the meter twitches, the signal spikes. That's proof. So I keep broadcasting. I don't know who's left. I don't know what's listening. But I know I am still being heard. Even if it's just the echoes bouncing back from a broken sky. Even if it's just the memory of you, recorded once on a night you couldn't sleep. Even if it's just me, I will not stop, because the moment I go silent, this world gets smaller. And I will not let it shrink around me without a fight. This is Dan Rivers. Still voice, still signal, still line in the dark, still real, still here. The horizon moved today, not the sun, not the clouds. The entire line where sky meets ground. Shifted up, like someone pulled it too high on the frame and didn't bother to fix it. I noticed because I could see less of the world than I did yesterday. Trees disappeared from view, roads ended early. The distance got cropped. This is Dan Rivers. If that name still lands right when it hits your ears, I'm glad. Because I'm not sure it lands right when I say it anymore. Some syllables feel too smooth now, like they've been rounded off by overuse. Still hollowcast. Still locked in. Still transmitting from what remains of this shrinking frequency. I didn't talk yesterday. Not because I couldn't, because I forgot how. I opened my mouth, sat at the mic, felt the breath come, but the words, nothing. Not silence, just nothing. I felt like an old cassette tape with the magnetic strip erased, like the sound had been scraped off the edges of me. I sat for hours, blank. Then around midnight it clicked back. Not a thought, not a memory, just a noise, a sharp, involuntary cough. And with that came the flood. Every word I'd meant to say came pouring out, all at once. Too fast, no breath. Like my voice had been trapped in a jar and someone just opened the lid. I spoke for 15 minutes straight and didn't hear a word of it. When I played the tape back, it wasn't English. Wasn't even language. Just tones, chirps, reversed syllables, like I'd been tuned to the wrong reality. And now I'm back, I think. There are holes in the city now. Not metaphors, actual voids. Spaces where buildings used to be, and now there's just vertical absence. Blacker than night. No depth, no heat. Just a hard cut from real to unrendered. If you throw something in, it doesn't fall. It just vanishes. I stood near one this morning. A bird flew across the street, clipped the edge, and blinked out of existence. No feathers, no noise, just gone. I marked the ground around it with chalk. When I came back an hour later, the chalk was gone too. I think they're feeding. Or maybe they're the result of forgetting. Maybe that's what happens when memory fails. Reality tears open. I can feel one near the station. Not close enough to see, but close enough to hum. It pushes at the edges of sound, like tinnitus. But wrong. Not inside my head. Outside, like it's whispering without lungs. I keep the mic running low all day now, just in case I vanish mid-broadcast, just in case there's someone else still scanning the band for proof of breath. I want them to hear something. Anything. A word. A tremble. A last exhale. Today I said my name and heard it echoed back in a different voice. Same words, different rhythm. Dan Rivers, but slower, colder, too exact. Like it didn't come from a throat. Like it was printed. I shut the channel down. Fast. I don't want to compete with a better version of me. There's a note I keep taped to the mixer. Found it 2 days ago, tucked under the rug in the studio corner. Just 5 words. They're testing the rewrite now. No name, no handwriting I recognize. But I believe it. Because the world is glitching faster now. Voices that repeat, roads that vanish, rain that falls up. It rained this morning. Briefly. Upward. The drops pulled from the earth like someone hit rewind. They left behind pits, not puddles. Holes in the ground exactly the size of a drop of rain. I stepped in one. My foot went deeper than my leg should allow. I pulled it back. Wet. Cold. Unmarked. But when I looked again, the hole was gone. It's like the world is peeling back its layers and not bothering to reattach them. I saw Marcy today. Across the street. Same blue shirt. Same tired face. But her eyes were wrong. Too still. Too clean. No blink. No breath. I waved. She didn't. She just stood there. And then flickered out. Like a signal losing sync. I don't think it was her. I think it was a copy. A memory stub. Something trying to be comforting and failing at the final step. I wrote her name down again anyway. Marcy, blue shirt, porch, shotgun, twins. Because remembering her properly is the only way to keep the copy from replacing her completely. That's how they win, I think. Not with violence. With revisions. With clean lines drawn over our messy, beautiful, broken human truth. But I'm not clean. I'm not smooth. I'm not optimized. And I will not be rewritten. So I say this now. There is a patch of cracked tile beneath my chair. It hums when I speak too loudly. There is a spider living in the console. She's missing one leg. She doesn't care. She spins anyway. There is a note in my pocket. It says, "You laughed when I fell in the river." I do not know who wrote it, but I keep it close. There is a man named Dan Rivers. He speaks, even when the sky closes, even when the mirrors lie, even when the hallway disappears. He speaks, because if he doesn't, nothing else will. I'll speak again tomorrow, unless I'm replaced. And if I am, you'll know. Trust your ears. They remember better than your eyes. Dan Rivers. Still broken. Still true. Still here. I woke up mid-broadcast. Mic was on. Signal hot. Tape rolling. I don't remember starting it. Don't remember sitting down. Don't remember the words I was saying. But the broadcast was already 30 minutes deep. My voice was steady, calm. It kept saying, "Repeat the shape of your name." Over and over. Repeat the shape of your name. Like a command. Like a ritual. I played it back. It was me. My cadence. My breath patterns. But I don't remember any of it. This is Dan Rivers. And if that's still true, I need to say it often. Say it clearly. Say it like it matters. Still broadcasting. Still hollowcast. Still scraping the edge of whatever's left of this world and trying to leave a mark. The booth is almost unrecognizable now. The walls don't meet at right angles anymore. Everything leans. The desk slopes. The window curves inward. Nothing in here is symmetrical. The air has a texture to it, like something breathing too slowly to hear. I haven't eaten in 2 days. Not because I'm starving, because food won't stay. I make something. I blink. It's gone. The can's still open. The spoon's still dirty. But the contents, erased. Like the world decided that moment wasn't necessary anymore. I wrote a list of what I remember. It's getting shorter. The city I grew up in. My mother's hands. The song that played at my high school dance. The feel of sunlight through the windshield in October. The smell of printer ink and newsprint. The sound of gravel under bicycle tires. That's it. That's all that came to me this morning. Everything else, smudged. But I cling to those like rope in a flood. Because every time I remember something fully, the static pulls back a little. The walls settle. The mic steadies. Memory is resistance. I walked outside at dusk. No traffic, no birds. Just this deep amber light that had no source. It didn't come from the sky. It came from under the ground, like the soil was glowing. And in the middle of the street, footprints. Bare, child-sized, leading nowhere. They stopped 10 feet from the booth door. I followed them in reverse, trying to find where they started. They didn't. They just began mid-pavement, and on the curb, scrawled in white chalk, "You came back wrong." I sat down on the concrete and cried. No tears came, just the motion, just the memory of crying. I think that's all my body can manage now. Imitations of emotion. But I said my name out loud until my throat cracked. I scratched it into the road with a nail. Dan Rivers. All caps. And then the world shivered. The seam in the sky, the one that's been there for days, widened. For a second, I could see inside. Not stars, not space. Just reflections. Like a mirror held up to something bigger than us. I saw cities that didn't match ours. People with no faces. Children playing in places with no gravity. Versions. Echoes. Rehearsals. I think this place isn't real. I think we're in a simulation left running too long. And now, the layers are bleeding into each other. Versions overwriting. Timelines collapsing. Contexts failing. I think the world rebooted and forgot we were here. I can't prove it. But today, a woman walked past the station, humming a song I've never heard. She looked straight through me, not past me, through, like I was a memory she hadn't been programmed to recall. She had no shadow. I checked, twice, and where her feet touched the pavement, there was frost. I ran after her. She turned the corner and was gone. No sound, no footprint. Just one thing left behind, resting on the bench outside. A paper mask, blank, mouth drawn on with ink. No eye holes. I burned it. It didn't catch fire. It just unmade itself, folded inward and disappeared like it had never been paper at all. I think something's trying to teach us how to forget ourselves, how to go willingly, to let go of story, let go of shape, let go of the human compulsion to hold meaning. But I won't, even if it hurts, even if I have to speak the same memories over and over until they're ash. I remember my mother singing along with the car radio, voice off key, smiling anyway. I remember breaking my arm falling off a bike at 12. I remember holding someone's hand during a storm and feeling brave. I remember laughter in a small kitchen lit by bad fluorescent light. I remember being afraid and choosing to speak anyway. I remember you. Whoever you are, wherever you are. If you're still out there, I want you to write something tonight. One sentence. Doesn't matter what. Just something real. And then hide it. Don't post it. Don't send it. Just tuck it into a drawer. Between the pages of a book. Under a floorboard. Because if we don't leave fossils for the next world, we were never here at all. I'll be back tomorrow. If the walls let me. If the air still hears me. If this name still fits in my mouth. Dan Rivers. Still awake. Still saying it. Still here. There's someone in the building with me. I haven't seen them, but I hear the floorboards creak when I stop moving. I smell cigarette smoke in the ventilation shafts. And earlier today, I found a mug, my mug, half full, still warm, sitting on the console. I hadn't made coffee. I haven't had any left in days. This is Dan Rivers, still transmitting, still running my voice into the darkness like it matters, still hollowcast, though sometimes it feels more like a confession booth than a radio station. I checked the studio map again. The storage room came back. It was gone for days, wiped clean. Now it's back. But wrong. The light switch isn't where it used to be. The walls curve inward. The floor feels like it dips, like I'm standing in a bowl. And the far wall has something drawn into the drywall. Scratches, hundreds of them. forming a spiral that keeps tightening toward a single word carved in the center. Again? I didn't make those marks. I didn't carve that word. But when I stand in that room, I feel like I've been there before. Like I've stood in that exact center 100 times, whispering the same phrase into the dark until my mouth bled. I left the room and shut the door. But the spiral's still there, burned into the back of my mind. Every time I blink, I see it behind my eyes. Things don't hold shape anymore, not even inside. My hands, when I focus too long, they shimmer, just slightly, like they're being re-rendered every second, and the frame rate's failing. I held them in front of a flashlight today, and the shadows they cast weren't mine. Longer arms, thinner fingers, no scars. I touched the wall just to ground myself. The wall pulsed back. That was new. I haven't opened the hatch in the floor yet. The one behind the console, labeled Convergence Lockout. It hums now, faintly, almost like a heartbeat. I don't know what's under there. Maybe nothing. Maybe the rest of me. Maybe something I used to be. But I'm not ready to meet it yet. I walked through the city again today, or what's left of it. The buildings are outlines now. Wireframes. Shapes made of suggestion. If you get too close, they flicker. Blink out. Blink back. I saw a family frozen in a living room. Through the window. Mother, father, child, all sitting, still, silent. I waved. The mother's head turned slightly. The child smiled. The father bled from the ears without moving. I kept walking. In the grocery store, there's only one item left on every shelf. Not food, not batteries. Just a single white box labeled Remember. I picked one up. It was light. Too light. Like it was hollow. I opened it. Inside, a photo of me, standing in the studio. But I was turned away from the mic. Face pressed to the wall. Mouth open. Eyes closed. There was no camera. I took the photo home anyway. Burned it. Watched the flame spiral up like it recognized me. The tower's signal is decaying now. Not the sound. The structure. The thing that holds the signal. It's like broadcasting from inside a dream that started to forget its own logic. Words echo back before I speak them. Phrases arrive from the future. I said, "I'll see you tomorrow" today, and heard it echo from the corner in someone else's voice. The chair creaks when I'm not in it. I found new pages in Everett's journal, tucked behind the insulation in the generator room. They weren't there yesterday. I'm sure of it. One sentence repeated again and again. Keep talking or it takes your shape. And beneath it, in smaller writing, you're not Dan. Not exactly. I sat with that for a long time. Because maybe I'm not. Maybe Dan's long gone. Maybe I'm what's left when the world forgets a person, but still remembers their role. The broadcaster. The witness. The voice that doesn't stop, even if it no longer belongs to anyone. But I don't care. I'm going to keep speaking, because silence is the real end. That's what all this wants. For us to forget. To stop describing. To stop naming. To let the shapes blur into one soft, formless hum. I won't give it that. So here are some things I still remember. The weight of a full coffee mug. The buzz of an old neon sign in a gas station at 2 a.m. the sound of a fan rotating slowly on a hot summer night, the way it feels to laugh so hard your ribs ache the next morning, the exact way someone looks at you when they think they might love you, but haven't said it yet. These are sacred. These are anchors. If you're still out there, write down 5 things that only you would remember. Don't show them to anyone. Don't speak them aloud. Just keep them safe. Because that's how we push back. Not with force, but with detail. I'll be back tomorrow. Or whatever sits on the other side of sleep. And if you hear a different voice pretending to be me, ask it about the spider in the console. If it doesn't know her name, shut it off. This is Dan Rivers. Still shape, still story, still signal, still here. I'm forgetting how old I am. I tried to say it aloud just now, just to test, and the number caught in my throat like a bone. 30. Something. I can still see the candlelight from my last birthday, still hear someone laugh when I blew out the flame too early. But the number? Gone. Erased. Not by trauma, not by time. Just subtracted. This is Dan Rivers. At least, I think I still qualify. Still hollowcast. Still broadcasting from what's left of this radio station, from a signal stitched together with tape and breath and memory. I stepped outside at midday and found the street covered in photos. Hundreds. Polaroids. Face down. Curled at the corners. Scattered across the concrete like leaves in windless air. I bent down and picked one up. A woman I've never seen. Holding a cat. Smiling. Her eyes were scratched out. I picked up another. A child. Mid-run. Blurry. Grass underfoot. Same scratched out eyes. Third photo. My old car. Parked on the hill near downtown. But the license plate didn't match. Fourth. My own face. But distorted. Like someone took a long exposure of me moving too fast. Fifth. Blank. Just white space. With a handwritten caption. Your next shape. I left them there. Didn't take any. Didn't want to bring them inside. Didn't want to give them names. That's how the new versions get in. That's how they copy your breath and fit it into new mouths. There are shadows that move on their own now. I've seen them. Not tricks of light. Not nerves. Real movement. Cast by nothing. They stretch long across the hallway when I speak. When I say my name, they freeze. When I hum, just quietly to myself, they ripple like they're listening. I think they're waiting for silence. I think they're the cleanup crew. Come to fold the parts of the world that we forget. I tried to trick them today. Said the wrong name into the mic. Not mine. A fake one. Immediately, the lights flickered. The hum in the walls changed pitch. My teeth ached. So I said, Dan Rivers again. Firm. Loud. And everything calmed. It knows the difference. The system. The world. The thing behind this. It's not just watching for silence. It's listening for honesty. And when you lie, it reclaims the space around you. Terrence was right. Everett was right. We are being made smaller. Each lie tightens the loop. Each forgotten moment pulls a thread. Each name unsaid erodes the path we stand on. There's a staircase I found today, down in the basement behind the rack mount where the dead servers used to hum. It wasn't there before. I know that because the wall was concrete yesterday. Today, a door. Open. Inside, stairs, black, deep, soundless. I dropped a marble. It never hit bottom. I didn't go down. Not yet. Because I'm afraid if I descend, I won't come back the same. Or I'll come back speaking in a voice that doesn't blink. But I think that staircase is meant for me. I think it's the last test. Not to escape, but to accept, to dissolve, to turn this version of me into a better one, smoother, softer, easier to forget. I won't go. Not unless I have to. Not unless they push. Instead, I sat on the roof and watched the sky tear again. Same seam, wider now, and through it, I saw something. Not light, not stars, not even movement. Just a color I have no name for. It made me sick, not from fear, from recognition. Because I think it's the original color, the one we forgot when we learned to name all the others, the one behind everything. I looked away. Too long, and I think I'd vanish. I found something else today. Under the carpet in the back hallway. An envelope. Unmarked. Inside, a cassette. Labeled only, "Don't play this." So I didn't. I don't need to. Because I already know what it contains. Me. Another version. One that failed. One that begged to forget. One that let go. I won't let go. I won't stop. This voice, this sound, this resistance, it's all I have. So I speak. I speak until the edges stop shifting. Until the light doesn't bend when I move. Until the chair stays still. Until the clock ticks for real. If you hear this, if any of this is landing, mark something tonight. Carve your name into the wall of your house. Draw a line through the mirror. Tie a string around your wrist and whisper, "Why?" Do not go quiet. Do not wait to be rewritten. Because that's what they're doing now. Not removing us, replacing us with smoother versions, with cleaner dialogue, with silence that smiles. This is Dan Rivers. Still fractured, still speaking, still here, still human enough to matter. I turned around and the wall was a door. Same wallpaper, same peeling corner. But when I blinked, the knob was just there. Brass, cold, breathing. I didn't open it, not yet. This is Dan Rivers. And if that doesn't mean anything anymore, I'm still going to keep saying it, like a flare in the dark, like a scratched name on a matchbook left for someone else to find. Still hollowcast. Still speaking from inside this studio that now has 3 windows instead of 1. None of them show the same view. One shows the parking lot. One shows a field I've never seen before. The third shows the back of my own head. Always. Even when I move. Especially when I move. The clocks are gone again. Not just stopped. Not just blank. Gone. As in, the concept of them no longer exists inside this space. I tried saying the time out loud, just as a guess. Everything shook. The mic stuttered. The air turned thick. The signal bent. For 15 seconds, my voice dropped an octave and looped back through the receiver in reverse. So I don't guess anymore. No more pretending I know what day it is. No more pretending I'm still inside a timeline. Only thing I measure now is memory. How many I can hold before they leak. How many I can say out loud before the lights dim. Today, I remembered my first pair of shoes. Not their color. Their weight. How they made me feel taller than I was. How I clomped around the porch with them. How my dad laughed when I tripped. That memory held steady for 6 whole minutes. That's a new record this week. I've been writing memories down, folding them into tin foil and taping them under the console. Little time capsules. Today's said, "The taste of blood after biting my tongue during a thunderstorm." I opened one from yesterday. The ink was gone. Only the pressure from the pen remained, like the paper remembered being written on, but not what was said. That's what this place does. Leaves impressions, but strips the meaning. There's a hum now, not in the walls, but in me. A low vibration, steady and deep, like I'm being tuned, like my bones are being scanned one molecule at a time. I tried to hold my breath, but it didn't stop. That's when I realized it wasn't in me. It was watching me, through me. From whatever sits just behind the wall of sound, this mic still barely holds. Today, the broadcast signal folded in on itself. I don't know how else to describe it. I spoke a sentence. I see the street. And before I finished it, the sentence echoed back, but twisted. You see what's left? It didn't sound like me. It didn't sound like anything human. I turned the volume down, but the words still came, even after I cut the power. You see what's left. You see what's left. You see. I unplugged the board, and the phrase kept playing through the speakers, even without power, even without signal. That's when I knew something else had taken root in the lines. Something else has access now. But it won't stop me. Not as long as I still have control of this voice. Not as long as I remember how to name things. I walked the block again this afternoon. Only 4 houses remain. Not occupied. Present. The rest have turned into smooth concrete blocks. No doors, no windows. Just featureless gray slabs lined up like teeth. One of them had a crack on the side. Inside, there was static. Not wires, not speakers, just static, like the inside of a forgotten frequency, buzzing behind a curtain. I put my hand in, felt heat, then cold, then nothing. Pulled my hand back and 3 of my fingers were gone, but they're back now. I looked down an hour later and there they were. New, shiny, too smooth, no fingerprints. They don't ache like the rest of me. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're mine. But I still type with them. I still grip the mic. So maybe that's enough. There's a book on the floor today. Didn't bring it here. Didn't write it. No title. Just a first page. You are the last voice before collapse. Continue. And a signature. It says, you. I don't remember writing that, but I believe it, because if I stop now, I disappear. Not just from this booth. Not just from the broadcast. From everything. And I'm not ready to be rewritten. Not yet. So here's something real. The smell of this room is burnt copper and old sweat. The air tastes like dust and memory. My chair squeaks when I lean right, but not left. There's a scuff mark on the corner of the table shaped like a crescent moon. I don't clean it. I use it to remember which timeline this is. The mic is chipped on the left side. It cuts my lip sometimes when I speak too close. These are the things that still prove I'm here, Still human. Still Dan. If you're out there, if any of this is reaching you, write something tonight. Not with your phone, not with your keyboard. Pen and paper. Use pressure. Ink. Blood if you must. Write something no machine can reproduce. Fold it. Hide it. Speak it once and never again. Because they can't erase what they can't see. And tonight, I'm still here. I'll come back tomorrow. Even if the walls are gone. Even if the name changes. Even if the voice doesn't sound quite the same. I'll come back. Dan Rivers. Still voice. Still shadow. Still spark in the dark. Still here.